Dead by Daylight has over 40 killers, some of which are good, some of which are bad, and some of which have been removed from digital storefronts entirely, but behind every killer main is their main killer, and here's what yours might say about you. The Trapper. You're an OG Dead by Daylight player and have probably been involved since the beta days, since his traps were breakable and since hooks can be sabotaged for the whole match. You love the mascot vibes that Trapper brings to the table, you love his cosmetics and his lore, and you love the fact that despite him being one of the weakest killers in the game, he's still always going to be there for you and the survivors. You probably have at least one Trapper outfit you main, if not two, and you probably get super excited when you get a perfect 4K with no perks or add-ons given your killer is not in a good spot right now. The Wraith. You are one of three types of people. 1. You're a stealth killer main who appreciates the jump scares that Phil can bring to the table. You probably love running the silent clapper and getting the metal image of survivors screaming when you drive Azerov's spine into theirs. 2. You appreciate how Wraith's add-ons provide some of the best customization in the entire game and love the way you can essentially build them to be a sneaky boy, a breaky boy, or an in-between boy. 3. You are the definition of a fucking troll and love slugging survivors and then spamming that bell until they bleed out on the ground. You've probably been called every single slur in the book and have been told to off yourself in every single way imaginable, including ways that would make the Looney Tunes blush, and you love every second of it. Despite what main you are, you all love the fact that your main has some of the best cosmetics in the game and you love showing off your best skin in style. The Hillbilly. You love going fast, and as the original map traversal killer, you love nothing more than getting on Hillbilly and zipping around the map with your Chainsaw of Doom. If you've been playing him since the original days, you've been there since they've punished you for using your power, and all the way through to nowadays where they encourage you to rev that chainsaw all you can for the bonuses it gives. You love the satisfaction you get when you go halfway across the map and get a survivor on the ground in the first few seconds of the game, and that alone makes him your favorite. You also feel a slight sense of dread and depression whenever you get an indoor map, but when you can still hit survivors in even the most cramped of environments, nothing feels better. The Nurse. You love that your killer is one of the most powerful in the entire game. You love the satisfaction you get when you get a blink just right to hit or grab a survivor, and you love the fact that pallets essentially mean nothing to you. Your slowness doesn't get you down, you dominate the map, not the other way around. You go into each match confident with at least a 3K, and with your skills, the survivor's a little more than a distraction as you glide around towards victory. You also probably don't have a loving family or friends, but who needs them when you've got your 2 blinks and the last breaths of innocent people in jars. The Huntress. You are one of 2 types of people. You play the Huntress because you love to throw shit. The fact that not only do you have a big axe, but also several little axes, and no, I don't give a fuck that they're hatchets, play along with the joke man, makes you happy beyond belief, and you love getting that sweet, fleshy sound when your flinging results in an injury. You love the fact that Iridescent Head can almost guarantee you an instant down at any time, and you love the background hums of Huntress's lullabies who make survivors regret ever stepping foot into your forest. Either that, or you main the Huntress because you have a massive, unconquerable lust for a giant Russian muscle mommy, and you are not sorry at all for simping. The Shape. You're not only a huge fan of the Halloween movies, you're probably a bit of a prankster and enjoy scaring people. Myers is your bread and butter, and you love the feeling of grabbing someone off of a generator before they can even realize that they're in danger. You love the fact that Myers used to be simple in concept with add-ons that made him customizable beyond belief and have plenty of clips of TTVs screaming at you once they see you. I use past tense because you either rage quit with the recent Myers rework or you found his absolute brick shithouse strength appealing and stayed with him. He may not be lore accurate anymore, but he's damn strong, and you love the fact that Tombstone is base kit now. If you still play him and you use his old kit with add-ons, you still love running the occasional BK Myers build, but also want to shoot whoever reworked Myers into the fucking sun. The Hag. I'm gonna be dead serious here. I don't know who is going into the year 2026 still maining Hag, but if you do, then you're definitely a rare but ferocious breed. You know Hag has been power crept to hell and back over the years, but you don't care. You love jump scaring people with your symbols, you probably ran Chag just the other day for variety's sake, and you love finding the best ways possible to maximize your potential in-game while also looking goofy as shit in the process. You probably enjoy your lore and cosmetics, and you probably are the kind of person who's meticulous but also carefree, and Hag perfectly synergizes with that. The Doctor. If you're a Doctor main in this day and age, you've probably been through a lot. You probably played as him back when he was a Switch State killer and reveled in making survivors scream, and even if the current year isn't the same Doctor, screams are business and business is booming. Before map offerings got nerfed, you definitely sent a group of survivors to the game with an impossible skill check build, and you did not give one single solitary fuck as you caused mayhem with no remorse for your actions, just as the previous survivors did when they sent you to bat him with 3 petrified oaks. You probably cackle along with your beloved main as you shock survivors, and you wish behavior would fix the issues with his visual bugs so survivors can stop getting headaches from you unless you want them to. The Cannibal. You're the kind of person who hates being told what to do or where to go. You go where you please, and Bubba perfectly represents your personality. Pallets, survivors, hope, all these things become mere suggestions as you roll through the map happily grunting away as you swing your best friend to cut down those who oppose you. You probably pissed with the pallet density update and wish it was reverted, and if your name is AfroM1, you've had several mental breakdowns on Twitter over this issue, and rightfully so. You also probably have several clips on your computer using a build like double iridescent add-ons, forced hesitation, infectious fright, and anything else to down 3 to 4 survivors at once. The Nightmare. You're either a massive Nightmare on Elm Street fan, or you just know Freddy Krueger passively and you decided to try him out one day. If you've been playing him since release, you've probably seen him go through so many changes that'll make your head spin, but in his current state, you probably enjoy him being as powerful as ever, utilizing both dream snares and pallets to dominate the map. You love hearing those claws clanging together, but more than anything, you wish that Robert Englund would come back to reprise his role just to hear Freddy call people bitches one more time, or that Freddy could get literally any other cosmetics, power glove, or otherwise. The Pig. You are one of 2 people. You either love Amanda because of her gameplay, whether it be sneaking up and stabbing survivors with a satisfying growl, or adding a bit of flavor to the survivor's head fashion as you make them scramble to get the mobile mouth opener off of their craniums. You love the passive gen regression, and you probably watch survivors try to get their faces safe, ambushing them if they miss a skill check. All of that, or you just love Amanda for the boop the snoot memes and love seeing survivors point at your face as they breathe a sigh of relief and take the easy 4 out with a slug race. The Clown. You live for making people miserable, and Clown is your tool of destruction, you beautiful sadist. You don't care how bad of a reputation you have, you just love tossing your bottles and flipping your knives all while you laugh with that raspy voice. You have skin thicker than the average person, and that fits perfectly with Clown's potbelly. You probably saved up eerie shards to either get the Pagliaccio skin or Mr. Puddles, and whether it's pink or piss, your bottles always hit their mark, as you've practically thrown more of those bottles than you've had warm meals, and that's fine by you. The Spirit. You have bat hearing and love using it to your advantage. You love the fact that Spirit is one of the most mobile characters in the game, and you probably have a decent impression of her wheezing. You grin every time a survivor walks right into your trap and gets sliced and diced by whatever gorgeous shattered blade you have embedded into the back of your hand. You also recognize that while Spirit may not be the best option in the game, she is one of the most visually distinctive and creative killers in the game, and that makes you love her even more. The Legion. You are an edgelord, and I'm talking the kind of edgy where you live, breathe, and shit angst. You know Legion has been power crapped and nerfed to hell, but you don't care as you stab and run around the map like a kid who just found his dad's X-Acto knife and has just seen the last episode of Lego Ninjago. You jam out to the chase music, you probably have the members listed from your least favorite to favorite, and have decked your legions out in the fairest of clothes caffeine-addicted teens can get, all while admiring your beautiful blades. The Plague. Odds are, if you still main the Plague, it's because she's been a very capable character practically since her release, and still is today. You enjoy attempting to go for nice vomit shots, you find her melee weapon to be unique and interesting due to how free it hangs, and you find the idea of what's essentially a vomit laser beam downing survivors to be pretty cool. You also hopefully understand what people say when they hope some accessibility options can make Plague more tolerable for those who find your Vommy Mommy too gross, as she is great and deserves to be loved by more people. The Ghost Face. You are simple, and I don't mean that in a bad way. There's many aspects to killers such as strategy, planning, and coming in prepared, but all you care about is exposing survivors and downing them with one stab like the legends your main based himself upon. You probably have several Ghostface masks in real life and wear at least one of them regularly, especially if you're a streamer. You know that realistically, Ghostface hasn't fared too well in recent years, but just as long as you can crouch around a corner, stare at survivors, and see what their insides look like, you'll be fine in DBD, and you're also happy that due to licensing horse shit, Ghostface is one of the most customizable licensed killers in the game in terms of cosmetics, and that's all the more reason to love him. The Demogorgon. You are one of two people, and more than likely a mixture of the two. You're either someone who loves the non-human nature of the Demogorgon, and you love the fact that such a unique killer was added into DBD so early on, wishing that other killers of similar types would be added besides Xeno. You love the hopping around, the mad dashes, and the ability to put down portals just about anywhere on the map. All of this, or you're a demo pup who loves the stupid platforming and physics breaking you can pull with Demogorgon, and you take the pats on the head like the good boy that you are. The Oni. You love power fantasies, and that's something perfectly encapsulated by this walking hunk of man. You love the blood orbs around the maps constantly spreading information, you love the rush of energy you get when you pull that giant club out, and you love rushing across the map and slugging motherfuckers at a rate to boggle the mind, more so than the minds you're already boggling by slamming that club. Back when Oni was added to 2v8, you giggled in joy as your Wrath would have more targets, and you slightly cringe when you get any map like RPD or Hawkins as you get less space for your slaughter. The Deathslinger. For years, you were begging behavior to add a killer with a gun, you casual slimeball you, and with Caleb's introduction into the game, you finally got that. Sort of. While Caleb may not have a traditional firearm, you don't really mind, as the rip-roaring, dadgummin', six-shootin' vibe of this killer adds a strangely unique perspective we haven't seen from many others. You most likely have him decked out in some fancy attire, you probably have a decent mastery of his shots by this point, and you like that unlike those Huntress mains and their giant projectile hitboxes, your weapon needs to be so pinpoint precise that you're practically shearing a mole hair off of the survivors' backs as you shoot your harpoon into them. Executioner. You love the Silent Hill series, and probably have several bits of merchandise from the games, if not a statue of Pyramid Head himself. You also want to fuck him and call yourself a monster fucker, despite the fact that it's just a dude with a giant metal pyramid on his head, but that's besides the point. Even though your large, domed husbando isn't entirely replicated one-to-one in DBD, you still enjoy the aesthetic touches he brings to the table, and the kind of relentless, overpowering presence he brings to a game where most of the survivors wouldn't even begin to know how to counter something like him. As you drag your knife along the ground and shoot rebar at survivors caught in your barbed wire, you discover you really love the way you can essentially turn a wall into a mere suggestion, yet stairs will forever be your bitch. You're also super happy that his add-ons finally got a rework, and you're glad they did, as now you don't have to worry about only having 2 of them available before you have to swap off one of them to the 15 or so other useless ones. The Blight. Speed. You are speed, and Blight is your perfect tool for dishing out pinball cane wax to survivors like an old man yelling at kids to get off of his lawn. You have almost every map memorized for perfect bump locations, you have several different builds you swear by, and you're happy that your killer does take a fair bit of practice to get the hang of, so you can gloat a bit when asked who you main. You probably have the sound of Talbot slamming into objects stuck in your head, and if you got the ice cane back in the day, you probably participated in the copy pasta of not grabbing it when it became available again. There's also a chance you might find the subject of biochemistry interesting, and you seriously hope you never get to a point where you or someone else makes anything like Blight's compound. The Twins. Okay, look, I'm gonna be real. Do you even exist? Are you actually out there at all? I don't think you are, given how little I see this killer in general, much less people who main them. You must be the DBD equivalent to Bigfoot, as finding you must be harder than finding a needle in a haystack, and you have no problems maining what is by far one of the buggiest and most broken killers in the entire game, and almost never in a way that benefits you. When you tell people you main the Twins, you brace yourself for the inevitable laughter, followed by a 15-minute long explanation as to why your main is shit. The Trickster. You are probably a K-pop fanatic and love the fact that behavior included a killer with an aesthetic that you live by religiously. On the off chance you aren't, you probably liked the general feel of him, and you don't mind that unlike Huntress, you choose to sacrifice the instant injure on Huntress's hatchets for a bunch of mini knives and 0.2 more meters per second movement speed. You probably have some clips saved on your PC or console of you getting multiple downs with the bouncy exploding knives in the main event, and you know that despite not being liked by most of the community, you still look stylish as fuck. The Nemesis. Whether it's tentacles allowing you to get easy injuries and break pallets, or the fact that you have 2 little helpers in tow the entire match, you love the Nemesis for the fact that he's a pub stompin' stompy boy, and he is a damn good killer. You probably picked up the OG Nemesis skin when he was introduced into 2v8, and you rock it well, all while Marvin's blood never leaves the first slot on your add-ons. You probably have way too much practice with the Whip Tentacle, almost to the point you could predict a shot down to the exact increment, and probably have names for your zombies and cheer and congratulate them when they eventually get that one scratch that gets you a down every 20 matches or so. The Cenobite. You love the idea of map manipulation, and the box is the best way to make every game of DBD feel unique to you. You love sniping people with chain spawn style, and that love is only matched by your love for the overall presentation of Pinhead, coupled with his voice being reprised by Doug Bradley himself. You probably have several different clips of cross-map snipes you've gotten with the hooks, and nothing makes you feel better than finding the lament configuration and making every survivor on the map feel intense pain and suffering. You're also currently feeling pretty good about yourself and like you're part of an elite club, as your main is currently no longer available for purchase. The Artist. You love birds, and ever since the entity introduced the idea of using crows as its proxies, you wish for a day you could control those things yourself. You love that the Artist is probably one of the best killers in the game for information gathering, and you love setting your crow shots up just right to snipe people from across the map. You have such a giddy feeling when you see your feathery inky buddies gathering around a group, and you most likely have yelled caw caw or something to that effect at least once in a match. You probably have a few different skins for your bird mama, and you wear them all with pride, as the only issue they all have is that there's too many good ones and behavior is constantly stealing your money to make her look amazing. The Onryo. Despite the confusion Sadako and Samara get nowadays, you know that Sadako is your main girl, and she's by far one of the most oppressive killers in the game. You had your fun when Condemnation was about as easy to pile on as extra whipped cream, but even nowadays, staring down your victims is as fun as making them scream when you pop out of the undetectable status and slap them with your ring of psychic energy. The second you see a survivor reach their 7th stack, you beam towards them like a bat out of hell or a ghost out of a well and stop at nothing until they've met their foul end. You also love the fact that Ring essentially uses DBD as a pseudo-sequel, and Yoichi returning as an adult to face Sadako in the fog once more gets you happier than a clown. Just maybe not that clown. The Dredge. Once DBD remembered it can create actual monsters, you made it your mission to scare the life out of people. As you teleport into lockers and zip around the map with your horde of negative thoughts, you whack every person knowing that your amalgamation of horror is one of the scariest killers in the game, and when night falls you delight in terrifying survivors from around corners, and especially on maps like Midwich, where the darkness becomes your best friend. You also only rock a few of the add-ons and are aware most of them are complete garbage, but when you can get a build together with your meat sack, you are a horror god. The Mastermind. Okay, look, level with me. You play Wesker for only a few reasons. You're either a huge Resident Evil fan who loves the memes surrounding this leather-bound Homelander-looking motherfucker, and you cackle when you see Chris in the lobby, knowing it's your job to mori him just to hear the unique voice lines. Or if you're not an RE fan, you're a mathematical genius who's calculated spots on every map to Wesker tech survivors into a grab. You most likely have the most unique clips out of any killer in the game, as rather than downing the entire team, you focus on lunging yourself in the most awkward positions to grab people and shove them into walls, and you've dedicated all of your brain power to Wesker or Ouroboros. That, or you just sent for Wesker, in which case, good for you, champ, clap those cheeks. The Knight. You are an information and map-controlling behemoth. You send out your guards with ease, probably talking with them, knowing full well they won't talk back, but as long as you have your guards, you have friends. You expect Knight to be bugged every single PTB, and you would be right, as your favorite killer is unfortunately neglected given their refusal to fix anything, and you probably feel that more than any other killer besides Twins. That being said, you found your groove with Tarhos, and despite you probably being the most hated killer in the game, your skin is as thick as your armor, which everyone expects, but does not know how to counter, just like the Inquisition. The Skull Merchant. Okay, look, you've been through a lot. Your killer went from A to D tier, and that sucks, I get it. You enjoyed putting your drones down and getting broken survivors every 3 seconds. You enjoyed the death and DDoS threats as you got a 4K with little effort every single time. Nowadays, you run Scully for one reason and one reason only: sticking it to the man. Every time you kill a survivor and they still send you the same messages you got before Scully was nerfed harder than Pyramid Head's ass, you always counter with, "Isn't this what you wanted?" There's a skip in your step and a flutter in your heart when you still manage to fuck the survivors harder than behavior fucks killers every PTB, and even though your killer is nowhere near what they once were, you will stick with your sexy Brazilian manga villain until she becomes a pure M1 killer just to make people angry. The Singularity. You're either a robot fucker, or you're a person who loves the gameplay Hux brings to the table, from general map knowledge being key to making survivors suffer with a giant mutant camera on their back. You cackle along with every one of the lines Hux says, and you probably love the "would you still love me if I was a worm" memes as you hear Hux call everyone a worm every 5 minutes. You hate when you see an EMP being used, and you go into every match knowing that you'll see everyone with at least one shoved up their ass. You treat pallet stuns as mere suggestions, you pride yourself on speed builds to maximize overdrive mode even more, and when you teleport right to an exit gate just to catch the survivor about to escape, you know their life is in your hands, and that makes you feel like a badass. Finally, you probably really like Hal from 2001: A Space Odyssey and AM from I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, knowing that without them, you wouldn't have your gene collector. The Xenomorph. You either play as a Xeno Kitty, full-on embracing the head pats that survivors give you, or you are one mean bitch as you slink around in your underground tunnels, popping out to either get hit in the face with a fire blast, or actually getting Survivor by surprise some of the time. You use skins designed to perfectly align that tail with the center of the screen and love when you get that whack. You love the fact that Xeno has their own little underground tunnel network, making map traversal relatively easy, and you most likely have used the Bolt to make a good vault build, probably involving Dark Arrogance, Bamboozle, and Superior Anatomy to make looping an impossibility. You also realize that despite having practically no stealth capabilities, the Xenomorph Queen skin is not only amazing but also thick as fuck, and you will get no judgment from me for the feelings you get. The good guy. You are a jackass, plain and simple, but I don't mean that in a bad way. You know that Chucky's personality of being a sneaky little shit is so great for his gameplay that it makes him a fantastic fit for your sadistic attitude. You love the idea of being a stealth killer, you love the fact that Chucky is as small as he is, making sneak attacks a perfect option, and you love the fact that for the whole ride you have a great voice actor talking shit the entire time, and that is more than enough for you. You probably love using scampers to cut survivors off, and every time you hit a good running dash, you laugh right alongside Chucky and make mincemeat out of everyone on the map. There's a decent chance you might have made a build that makes stealth even easier, and you probably have the Tiffany skin as well, happy that Brad Dourif and Jennifer Tilly still love these characters just as much as you do. The Unknown. Much like the Dredge, the Unknown is why you play DBD. You love how the Unknown is a masterpiece of horror and love the fact that it's objectively the most terrifying killer in the entire game. You love the jump scares, the voice lines, the cosmetics, and everything else that makes this killer as terrifying as it does. And you sure don't play it for the gameplay, given how Behavior has essentially nuked every good add-on that it's had since its release. The main thing that drives you now is how effective it can be at map control, and you probably have at least a few montages of hitting survivors with the UVX and getting a few good shots here and there, but now that the Unknown has been rebranded as the Harmless, which Behavior would help elevate it from its current position so you can send people postcards in style. The Lich. You are a nerd, plain and simple. You probably knew almost every bit of lore involving Vecna before he was added into Dead by Daylight, you know the exact stats of all of his spells, and you love the fact that out of every person they could have gotten to voice him, they got Matt Mercer. Even though you hate that Flight of the Damned hits survivors less than your favorite baseball player hits the fucking ball, and that the spells aren't one-to-one with how accurate they are, you don't care because you're playing as Fantasy Hitler and he is determined to make the survivors wish they were never born. The Dark Lord. You're a massive Castlevania fan and have probably been waiting for some kind of vampire to be in DBD for ages, but to have the Master of Darkness in the game and for him to be this powerful is a dream come true for you. As Crispin Freeman played Alucard perfectly in Hellsing, so does he play Dracula here while you teleport around the map in bat form, bite survivors in the ass with wolf form, or put hellfire pillars up their taints with your regular vampire form and listen to his fantastic voice the whole way through. When you saw the True Form skin adorn DBD, you thought for sure it would be a paid skin, not knowing that Behavior for once pulled their heads out of their collective asses and released by far the best Rift skin of all time, and you gorge on your daily diet of hearts just as great Papa Drac wants you to. The Houndmaster. I'm gonna be dead fucking serious. I don't know any person who mains Houndmaster in the year of our Lord 2025 without unironically doing it for the sake of having people pet snug in matches. If by some chance you do main Houndmaster, you probably do it because the idea of a dog companion in a game is cool, which it is, but you also probably struggle the most with the fact that your dog is one of the most useless abilities in the entire game, with how frequently he slams into walls, gets stuck, and generally has the reliability of a 3-day-old tuna sandwich that you swear won't make you sick. In all seriousness, I feel incredibly bad for Houndmaster mains because you guys often have the thickest skin possible, and it's because Behavior basically drop your killer into the game and have barely fixed your sense, which I am incredibly sorry for. The Ghoul. You guys know you are the polar opposite of skill when it comes to killers, and you are practically given hits for free. You know that the Ghoul is a meta-destroying machine, and you know that despite the nerfs he's endured since its launch, he is still one of the easiest, strongest, and fun killers in the entire game. There's a lot of great builds you can make, but there is a Friends Till the End that you can slap on and make everything even easier than before. You do have a few builds you could occasionally run to mix things up, but much like the Ring of Power always called to Bilbo, the meta loadout always stays glued to one of your build loadouts, much like your pants stick to your legs since you don't bathe. You also probably picked up the Rize skin, as it makes it so you don't have to hear Ken constantly yelling in the match, and that is fine by you. Animatronic. You are a Five Nights at Freddy's old head, and probably wanted Springtrap in the game for ages, but time was a cruel mistress until just recently, and now that Springtrap is in your hands, he is not leaving. You love the fact that William Afton has a knife in his hand and locks in his ribs, as he is finally here to take shit to the next level. You have a bunch of clips saved up already of axe throws from an axe that, as far as most people know, only existed in a fan-made music video, and you relish every time you scream in a survivor's face after grappling them, or when you catch people in the office, 1% of the time you go in. More than possibly any other killer in the game, though, you play DBD for one reason a lot of us others don't: to have fun. You rarely care about 4Ks or meta builds. As long as you can scream in people's faces with Matthew Lillard, that is what will make you happy. The Krasue. You probably recently picked up the Krasue given how strong she is, or given how violent she is, and honestly given the recent state of DBD, either one is believable. You love that more than any other killer in the game. Krasue is a gore fest of a killer that leaves blood, intestines, and often decapitated heads all over the map as she sings her song of joy. You know that even given her recent nerfs, she's still got a butt ton of potential, and with her release being decent, only getting a few tweaks to make her not completely broken, she's a great time that is yet to reach the main levels of greatness given how the game's overall state has been about as rough as Krasue's throat. Regardless, you still have your bloody great time, and you will enjoy it for the foreseeable future. Well, I hope you all enjoyed me ranting about stereotypes with killer mains for this long, and if you like this video, please leave a like. This is my first attempt at doing a video of this style, and I'm pretty new to it, so any constructive criticism and feedback would be welcome and greatly appreciated. While you're at it, why not subscribe? It shows that you like this kind of content and want more of it, and if you want any more other subjects for DBD videos, just leave me a comment. It's always welcome. Just leave a comment in general. I always like reading them. Just know that no matter which of the killers we have in DBD, there's all one consistent factor for us killer mains. No matter how badly we kill, we all want to die just as badly.